Changing shapes can be a little daunting. Let me show you some tricks. Let's do some nails. So let's say your client comes in and they have all square, and this appointment, they want to change them to round. You can do this yourself too. It doesn't matter if you have acrylic, hybrid gel, sometimes people call it polygel, which is a brand, hard gel, or full cover tips. It doesn't matter what product you're working with, we can change it quite easily. And here's a little trick right out of the gate. Okay, I've got an adorable square nail here. And let's say this client wants to turn them all into round, let's say. Little trick, every single shape comes out of a square. So if your client has square, you can pretty much get every shape out of that. Okay, so here's the trick with square. It's actually quite easy when you turn it into a round. If you flip this up, this is a nice little square nail, but if you flip this up, you see those little points that come out there? That's what makes it square. If you take your favorite file, this I have a course because I really want to take off some corner. It's harder to do it on this angle. Normally I would do it like this, right? But we're going to do it on this angle so I can show you. See how the corners are hitting the file? I am going to take that and I'm going to file off those corners. And I'll show you as I'm not filing, as I'm filing those corners, I'm turning the file like that. As I'm filing back and forth, I'm also turning it toward, okay? Now I'm going to show it the front way, so the front camera will catch what it looks like. See how the file is placed under the nail? I'm catching those corners. If I was filing it square, I would be going like this to make it totally square. But if I want to file the corners round, I'm going to go like this. By doing it this way too, you'll also ensure that those corners are going to be even round, because that's the scary thing when someone asks you to change a shape if you're doing your own. You're taking off each side, and the fear is you don't do it evenly. So that is one thing about this trick right here. If you angle the file up and go back and forth and angle it toward, you are removing those corners and just doing an automatic round nail. Okay, so let's take those off, see what it looks like. Okay, now look at that. That's not as square as we started. That's got a nice round corner. We could call this Sqround because it's the square shape with soft round corners. It's a mixture of square and round. So we call it Sqround. Well, I call it Sqround. So if I keep doing that, look at that. I've got a nice Sqround nail. And then I can take my fine file and just smooth that up and smooth that up. Okay, I've got myself a nice, let me see if I can just put the file underneath it so you can see the whiteness. See? That's a nice Sqround shape. Now, that's a bit of a cheat, you could say. That's a quick way to do it. So let's say if a client, you do all their nails square and they go, you know, I think I want them a little softer. That's what you can do to just sort of give a little cheat, you might say, to do them all a little bit softer and make them Sqround right away. But if your nail is a bit thicker, now can you zoom on that a bit closer, Cameraman? You see that? How it's a little bit thicker. Now my nails are pretty thin. I'll just give you a little look-see here. Look how thin we started. So that's nice and thin how we started. This is a little thicker now since I've shortened it. See, I'm comparing my two thumbs. This one here, the one I'm wiggling, is finished and much thinner. This one I've decided to round the corners, and it is a little bit thicker. See the difference in the shape here? See, my right hand is square, and my left hand is the round shape we just finished making, right? I just made that nice and round on the corner, just so that simple little trick. But let's turn them this way, and we can see how thick they are. See the difference? So the one on my right is nice and thin. That's the way it should be. And the one on the left that I just finished doing is got a thicker nail to it because I shortened it a little bit. So naturally it's going to get thicker because that's how nails are built. From the apex, as they go to the free edge, they get smaller and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. So when you start to shorten a little bit, it'll get a little bit thicker. And that's what this thumb just did. So that what I did there was just a little cheat, you might say, just to get it through if that client wants to change their mind on a little bit of a shape and you don't want to take all the gel off and redo the whole surface of the nail. But if you go a little bit shorter and it makes it a little bit thicker, you do want to take it off. And that's what I'm going to show you. but it's not much of a change. So most clients, when they come in, they will get them a little bit shorter, usually the length that they've grown for the month. Most clients will keep their nails at a certain length, pretty much all the time. Some change, which is fine. When you're making a shape change, I'm pulling off the gel now to show you, all you have to do is thin out the free edge from the top side. You can do it from the bottom side as a cheat, but it will change the structure of the nail a little bit. You can do it if it's just a little shorter, but if you go quite a bit more shorter, you do want to take the thickness from the top side, not the underside. If you take it from the underside, your nail's going to start to look higher. If you take it from the top side, it'll look much more natural where you intended it to be. So you're just going to make it a little bit thinner. Now, I think that's good. See, that's all it took. It didn't take much at all. Let's just take a look at that. Let's get rid of some dust. There we go. Now that nail, the new one, is just as thin. Look at that. I've got my finger over top of it, and you can see it's nice and thin. It's not too thick. I'm just doing that so you can see the contrast. It's just as thin as that. And you can see I only filed it from here down, just to take away the thickness on the end. Now we just got it sideways, and you can see it's a nicely structured nail. Okay, now let's go from a longer square to a pointy oval. Catch you in the next video.